This is the Google Cloud Platform console. And just like other cloud platforms, there is a Cloud Shell environment that I would recommend for a Python developer, especially to get started with when you first start doing things in that cloud platform. You can find that by going to this icon here and selecting Activate Cloud Shell. When you click on that, it'll spin up a cloud terminal, and it'll have some pre-installed things on there that are very helpful, like a version of Python, some command line tools that come with the Google Cloud Platform that lets you do administration. And so really this is one of the core features of why a Cloud Shell environment is so important. And I would say this is really the default starting point for most of your projects. So once I go through and I open up this shell here, the first thing I'd probably recommend is just kind of kick the tires a little bit. So one of the things you can do is you can type in which Python, and you can see that there is a Python right there. So if I run it, what is it? Oh, this one's a Python 2. So let's see if there's a Python 3 here. So if I go through here and I say Python 3, great, I've got a Python 3 as well. So I would recommend creating a virtual environment, and you can do it one of two ways on the Google Cloud. They've pre-installed the tool called Virtual Environment. So if I type in virtual env, I can actually go through here and run virtual env, and then create a new environment. We'll call this GCP Cloud, and go ahead and do that. And notice how I put it into this tilde/dot format so that it's hidden away and kind of out of my way here. And then when I source it, I'll go through here and say tilde/dot GCP Cloud bin activate. There we go. The next step that I would probably do is start to work with checking out a GitHub repo. And so what I'm going to do here is go to a Git repo that I've got set up, and I'll navigate over to it. And this has got really everything I need inside of this. It's got some GitHub actions so I can test my code. It's got a really simple, hello file here that just adds things together. So I'm going to go ahead and clone this. And so how do I do this? Well, anytime you create a new environment and you haven't communicated yet with GitHub, you'll need to create SSH keys. So I'll just remind you what that would look like. In this case, it would be SSH-keygen-t RSA, and then you would press return, and notice I've already done this, so I don't have to do this. But in your case, you would say, you just keep going and it would create this public key. Once you do that, you would then need to put those keys into GitHub, and that could actually be done via clicking on your profile over here. But I'm just going to clone this. So I'm going to select this code icon here, make sure it's set to SSH, and go to this and clone it. So we'll go ahead and say git clone. And looks like this has already been cloned, so I can actually just cd into it, do a git pull to see if there's any changes. And it looks like there's some small changes here. Now, how do I actually run this code? Well, if I type in a make install, because I like to do make files here, it'll go through and check to see if I've got any new packages to install. And it looks like there's some updates here. And I'll go through here and install this. Now, one of the things to point out here is if you're not a huge fan of doing everything in the command line and using command line editors, it also has a full IDE here. So if I go ahead and I select this icon, Open Editor, I can actually move this up and get access to a full IDE here that I can actually play around with and build out a full-fledged project. So let's go through here and let's find this project that I've been working with. So this one I believe is called, what did we call this? We called this GitHub Actions Demo. So let's go ahead and find that, GitHub Actions Demo. And if I select Makefile, you can see here's the Makefile. And then if I go to hello, you can see here's the hello file. So if I wanted to, I could go through here and modify things. So the main takeaway here is that just like your laptop, the cloud environment in Google Cloud Platform really has everything you need. It's got the editor, plus it's got a terminal. And I also can do things like, if I run gcloud, for example, it's got built-in tools that are hooked into managing the Google Cloud Platform. So that's really the key takeaway, just like most cloud platforms, is that you can tweak everything, install a project, go through here, kick the tires, run things. And actually, one other thing that I'll show you that's a neat little trick is if I go and I look at my history here, and I go through here and I find, let's say, something I did with gcloud. So if I want to go through here and log into my account to do some heavy lifting, how would I do this? I would type in gcloud auth list. It would pop open a authorization, which would allow me to make API calls. And we'll go ahead and do that. And now what I can do is I can actually run a cloud function that I built earlier that will translate some text from Wikipedia and translate it to a new language. Here we go. And you can see here that not only can I build out and make my own projects, but I can call into the cloud environment. So that's really the key advantage of a cloud-based environment, is the hooks into everything else.